Blast off! That monster, Juskow. We always give him the applause.
I know. Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to Friends Like Us. It's a preview and a review of the podcast that I have. I don't know if you knew it, but Marina Franklin has a podcast, yes. And this is
Evelyn Frick.
Yes. And she just got finished going for a walk. She was apologizing. I was like, don't apologize. It's a beautiful day.
It's so gorgeous. Yeah, I went for about an hour-long walk. I'm close to Prospect Park in Brooklyn, so got some tea, went for a little walk. Yeah, and now I'm here doing the stream. So it's been a lovely Saturday.
Don't you feel different after you go for they always say go for a walk will change everything.
It really does improve your mood. It's nice, even if you're if you're just by yourself, it's just really nice to be around other people and they're out walking their dogs and they're cute little kids around. Yeah, no, it definitely changes your mood for the better for sure.
Yeah, when I had COVID, I used to go for a lot of walks. I used to go walking. Well, after I was no longer contagious, according to the CDC, which I believe they're wrong, but still.
Yeah.
But I would walk along the Hudson River.
Oh, that's really nice.
And it's so beautiful. You forget, it kind of takes you away from everything, because everything has been so crazy in the city lately. So it's nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
wow. Dubai.
Hello.
Oh, that's so cool. Opaku. Now, I'm not going to say it right, but I'm attempting. Hello, Opaku on Facebook. We also stream this on YouTube and on Twitch. So if you want, you could see us there as well as on my Patreon page. If you didn't know, Opoku, if you didn't know, I have a podcast and that's why I'm doing this. And we're just here. We're going to talk for an hour. This is Evelyn. And we have a friend joining us soon, Dave Juskow. He's crazy, so get ready for that. So thank you for joining us. Okay. Hello to everybody. Just like you did, tell us where you are, where you're at. If you're related to me and watching and trying to see how I'm doing, do that as well. We're in New York City. And today is a beautiful day. The weather, I love. The summer was so hot.
It was so hot and disgusting. It's like 60 today, so there's a little bit of a chill in the air, but just a light jacket. Yeah, it's really gorgeous right now.
Oh, there we go. We have some new people. David, hello. California, welcome. Hesperia, California. I've never heard of that.
I haven't either.
Welcome. Are you good? Oh, you're yes. I struggle at everyone's name. I'm well known for that. Sometimes I'll say someone's name for a while and they just let me run with it. So yes, sorry, but I try. I do try.
That's an important thing.
So what else has been going on with you this week?
It's been a busy week. This past Wednesday was Yom Kippur, so I fasted, which was not fun. I did not enjoy it. But I had the day off from work. And then I think I had mentioned last week, there are a bunch of other Jewish holidays happening. So I have Monday and Tuesday off of work. And my parents are actually going to be visiting. On Monday it's my mom's
That sexy
birthday.
dad.
Yeah. Yeah. They're both going to be visiting. I think we're going to go. There's an exhibition at the Met that they want to see. Just spend time together. So I'm very excited about that.
Wonderful. And it's your mom's birthday?
Yeah, on Monday she will be 63. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so it'll be nice to see her. They're from around the Philly area, so it's not a huge travel to get here. But yeah, it'll be, and I see them pretty often, but it's nice to spend the day together.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday to your mom and happy other holidays. I'm curious what holidays they are. And hello, DJ Eric Prince.
So on, I think it starts early. I think it starts on Sunday, but it's the Jewish holiday of Sukkot, which is basically just like a harvest festival. It's the holiday. If you're familiar, you build like a little hut, basically, which is supposed to like represent when the Israelites were wandering in the desert for 40 years. And yeah, so that's an 8-day holiday.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's long. I mean, it's not like a super religious holiday, but it's long. And then the last day of Sukkot is like also its own holiday. It's called Shemini Atzeret. But I never celebrated it growing up. It's not really like a huge thing. And then the day after that is the holiday of Simchat Torah, which basically marks when we start reading, like when you finish reading the Torah. So in like, if you're a religious Jew, like you read the Torah from the beginning to the end every year.
How many pages is that?
It's long. It's pretty long. I'm actually not sure how many pages it would be, but it's pretty long. And so the Simchat Torah basically is like the holiday where you like finish reading and like start again, and like the whole thing is that like the biggest part of it is that in synagogue they like open the Torah scroll and like open it all the way around, and like it winds around the synagogue.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a lot of holidays, and they're not like, I don't know, like I celebrated them growing up, but they're not like huge things for me personally. But it's nice to have the days off. I have this coming Monday, Tuesday off, and then next week I have Monday, Tuesday
Botswana.
off.
Look at this.
Oh, that's exciting.
Timothy is in
Hello.
Botswana. My gosh. It's an international crowd today. Dubai,
And a
Botswana,
lot of new people too.
and a lot of new people. Yes.
Exciting.
The 40-year wandering was to get rid of bad generations.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, okay, yes, Harlem. Okay, yes, yes, Harlem fits. It's not international, but some may think it is.
It's got enough culture to be international.
Yeah, that's beautiful, though. I love traditional holidays. I love just learning about other cultures and what they do over the holidays. I think that's amazing. It's interesting. Someone did a joke on Instagram about hotels and reading the Bible, and they don't put why do they put the Bible in hotels? And there's like, you know,
Yeah, that's something I thought about too. I don't even know why they still like put Bibles in hotel rooms, really. I've never known anyone who's actually like used a hotel Bible. But yeah, I mean, I honestly, like if I traveled and they had like other like books, like if they had the Quran in a hotel room, I definitely read it because I've never read the Quran
yeah, it's
before.
just interesting. You don't realize some things like that are like meant for just Christians, I guess,
Yeah.
I mean, we're learning a lot about like this religion, and just even like with the abortion thing, it's like so biased. It's like, come on.
I
Look,
know.
look at my argument. What if I was to run for office? I'm like, I mean, come on.
I mean, I think if you were to run for office, at the very least, you would do better than Herschel Walker or Dr.
Oh.
Oz.
Ooh. Yeah,
Um,
Herschel Walker and his lies about him, and his
yeah,
child came out against him, right?
his son Christian, who is like also conservative, was like, I can't believe like we told you not to run and you decided to do it anyway. Yeah, it's been quite interesting, and like the fact that he's still kind of a viable candidate is really wild. And then with Dr. Oz, like the other day there was a report that was released that like over 300 dogs had died as a result of like medical experiments that he had done. And then
What?
yeah, over like 300 dogs. Like he killed 300 dogs for medical stuff, experiments. I don't know exactly what those were. And then like the next day, he gave a speech in front of Hitler's car. Like it's like comically bad.
Well, I thought you were gonna say in front of dogs.
No.
I
That would also be bad.
apologize.
But yeah,
Yeah.
like there are a few
What's
like
going on with wasn't he
what's
like
happening?
like we don't see there's a breakdown in him. There's a
Yeah,
couple of people after COVID, I really I think we need to really take a moment like we did after I keep saying it after September 11th. You can't just move on. You've got to take
yeah.
a moment. I noticed in Brooklyn, they recognized a teacher who was the first
Oh,
teacher to die of COVID. When it was in this and she was a very influential teacher, and they named a street after her.
oh wow.
And I think that is a nice way of like remembering people. There's so much that is coming out of this pandemic right now. I have friends that are getting divorced even still.
Oh wow.
There's so much. And like Dr. Oz, back to that,
Yeah,
it's clear that he's had like a break, like in his mental. Like, how are you someone that Oprah used to uphold and now you're like,
right.
I mean, of course, Oprah. I'm starting to learn a lot about celebrities. We don't really know them.
Yeah, right,
But
exactly.
wow.
I know, and and to top the craziest thing would be that like he's running for office in a state that he doesn't even really live in. Like he does not really live in the state of Pennsylvania. He lives in New Jersey. Um, but yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Eric's comment that he was kind of Oz was kind of
Oh,
crazy
not
before
that one.
COVID.
Sorry. That he was
Yeah.
crazy before COVID. Yeah.
I mean, he was like, yeah, he was like definitely not a reliable medical source before, but now it's just like completely off the rails. Um, but I mean, on the other hand, like as someone who is from Pennsylvania, was very invested in Pennsylvania politics. I still am, but even more so when I lived there. I do think it is good for the other candidate, John Fetterman, who I think is a really, really great option as a senator for Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. I
So
don't know
yeah,
much about Fetterman. I've heard that name.
he's really good. He is this really interesting character of like he's like he's very liberal, but he also is like very blue collar. Like he grew up in like rural Pennsylvania, so he really speaks to more moderate and conservative voters as well. Like they really like him at the same time that his policy is like very, very, very liberal. So yeah, and I think it's all
Okay.
good
He's
for
a
him.
lieutenant governor?
Yeah, he's the lieutenant
Okay.
governor. He also like I mean, I part of the reason why I love him too is he's a huge man. He is like 7 foot tall, really like big and built, and like doesn't like wear suits a lot of the time. Like he like has a lot of like he wears hoodies a lot. Yeah, they tried to like he has a lot of tattoos. And so they're trying to say that that was bad or like that was a reason why he can't be senator, but
Oh my god.
I
We just had
know.
really? After
I know. Well, it's also like that's the only thing you've got on
I mean,
him.
look what we've just gone through with this last president and what he's still going through, and you're gonna. It is crazy time,
Yeah,
okay?
it's
Because
very
like
wild.
where reality is not reality anymore. I don't know what we're gonna do. We should do. Oh, okay. In the comedy field, okay. So just that. Okay, that's nice. But here's the thing. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I really appreciate you for being on here. I only work with people that I've seen and know, and I've watched them grow. So that's just a little bit of I have a lot of young comedians that are in New York City that I see working the grind. So I always just as far as that goes, that's I'm overextended. But my advice to you here would be to keep working at it, never stop, keep writing if you're a comedian. I don't know exactly how you want to collaborate, but that would be my advice. All right.
Good advice.
Uh yeah, N- New Jersey is right next to no different than living in Newark and doing stuff. Okay. All right. Mr. Always
I mean,
coming
I
in with
agree,
the
like, I think the
tunes.
cultures are kinda similar, but, like, I think you should live in the place that you're running. Like, I think it's weird that, like, Eric Adams is our mayor and, like, he doesn't really live in New York.
But he grew up in Brooklyn,
He did grow up in Brooklyn, it's true. But
so
it
he
sets
does
a weird
have
precedent.
it does. It's like you don't wanna live here and experience these outdoor huts that what do you think about those restaurants and their outdoor
It's
eatings thing?
so weird. I mean, like, I as someone who, like, doesn't fully feel comfortable, like, eating in restaurants, like, indoors because of, like, COVID still, like, I do appreciate that restaurants have, like, outdoor options now, whereas, like, before the pandemic, they didn't. Um, but in a lot of places, it makes, like, the streets so they're like, streets are supposed to be used for cars, and it makes the streets it really brings them down to, like, 1 lane usually. It just makes things more congested and
Takes up
ultimately
parking spots, yeah.
right, it's just, like,
It looks
not
gross.
right. Yeah, exactly, and also, like, it just doesn't like, a lot of places I've seen a lot of really well-kept, like, outdoor hut seating situations, and I've also seen a lot of them that are really just kind of plywood thrown together, and yeah, it doesn't look nice, so, yeah, definitely mixed feelings,
Yeah, it
about
also brings rats. I mean, that's
yeah.
we're gonna bring on the Juskow soon, but it does it brings out rats. The rats are now in the streets. I can hear rats, like, fighting where
Oh,
I can
no.
hear them fighting.
Ugh,
It's really, really and it smells. It's just disgusting.
yeah.
And at some point, I understood during the pandemic, but how long they tried to say this I think they passed legislation to make it permanent.
Oh,
And
wow.
I got a letter from someone who has been fighting against the outdoor
Yeah,
structures. There's a lot in the city right now where I don't feel like politicians are working enough for the people who actually live in New York City.
yeah,
I
yeah,
get it that we have to get the businesses up and going because
right.
there's no city without the businesses, but there's also no city without people.
Right, exactly.
So I'm gonna say hi to everyone. Hello, Snat 420. I love that name. Hello, Robin. Thank you for your email. I loved your little music that you sent. Sent me music, a YouTube video
Oh, cool.
or some music. Some of them you might okay. Some of them you might as well be, huh?
Like with the huts, like they're not really like outside, like it's basically you're eating inside still.
Yeah, and some of them are not being used and some of them are just really filthy.
Yeah,
And they don't it's hard to maintain. I mean, New York City's already got a garbage issue.
yeah.
So, okay, let's Mr. Eating outside is whack. I always got stuff flying in my food last week. What?
Pterodactyl landed in my soup.
I don't know where your mind is sometimes, Mister. Well, thank you. All right, here we go. We're gonna bring on our friend Juskow. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. I'm coming in hot. I don't. That outdoor dining sucks. I've always hated it. I don't like my napkins flying all over the place. It drives me insane. These huts are disgusting, except from the ones, like Evelyn said, that put pride into it and they really try and make it nice. Otherwise, you're right. It's just a bunch of plywood. And you heard about that one on Cornelia Street, that poor woman that owns that really great Chinese restaurant where they're having sex in that shed.
Oh
Maybe the homeless
god.
people are. And it's like really disgusting. And I don't think they clean it at all. It's really gross. And they need to go away. It's making the city worse garbage wise. You've been at the Comedy Cellar. That street is a fucking disaster now. McDougal Street, as if it could get any worse. Now there's no escape. You can't get on the street, like you can't walk around the crowds. You're all in this horrible area. It's totally like not COVID friendly at all.
Yeah.
And the Comedy Cellar has done the thing very nice. So that's a good one, but still that block needs to be cleared off.
Minetta Tavern got rid of theirs because they didn't like the smell and thank
Mm.
God.
Oh, did
It's
they? I
it
haven't been down there in a while, so they must have
yeah.
just gotten rid of it like last week.
Well, here's the other thing, right? in the news, whenever they report it on the news, and I'm always watching, they always say like most New Yorkers don't mind it. And I'm like, no, 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 no. This is not true.
Yeah,
This
who are
is
you talking to?
Well, Marina,
who are
this is
you
the exact
talking
same
to?
thing as the parades. People think they like parades. If you live here, you hate parades, and that makes you hate all the ethnicities that have parades too. It's an awful, awful thing that needs to be stopped, and that's why I wanted to run for Manhattan Borough President. I would not get rid of them. I would make them biannual, and I would send them to other boroughs as well. We don't need a parade every year for every ethnicity. Every ethnicity. I'm talking
Well,
about the
Columbus
Israelis, the
Day
Puerto
is
Ricans, the
coming.
Dominicans,
Yeah.
the Italians. Columbus Day sucks. All that shit is bad, and nobody likes it. So when you're interviewing Manhattanites, at least, right? Who's saying some people like it? Nobody likes it.
You
Right.
did not call them hobos. Mister. You're on a roll.
I didn't say I didn't say hobos.
No,
Oh,
no,
also,
Mr.
can I
Mister
just say
called
one
them
other thing before I
hobos.
came on? Can I tell you this? You're gonna like this, Evelyn. I mean,
Mhm.
or you're not gonna like. I just tried to find tickets for Funny Girl for tonight
Oh my gosh.
with Leah Michelle, and they are $700.
Well, yeah,
What?
they're very expensive.
I had no idea, and I've never seen the official Broadway site jack up the prices like that.
Oh
Normally
yeah.
they'll just say they're not available, and then you get them on secondary sites. I've never seen anything like this in my life. I don't know what's going on over there. Now I realize why I wanted to see it. I guess it's very popular.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was like the switch from the switch from
Oh,
Beanie
please.
Feldstein to
That girl,
Leah
they
Michelle.
paid her to leave. That girl was
Well,
awful. And
the
people were going, it's so ironic. Look at the switch. Evelyn, you're so right. That Beanie Feldstein or whatever her story was, they wanted her out. When her understudy would take over, everyone would go because she just hit it out of the park. Now
yeah.
it's the exact opposite. The only tickets you can find on Thursday nights when Leah Michelle does not do the show, her understudy's on, and there's
Right.
plenty of
Well,
tickets for that.
no, I mean, it was definitely a financial decision to switch to Leah Michelle because I
They
mean, she
paid
does
her to
have a
leave.
very
They paid
powerful
her to leave.
voice. Right, but I'm saying they're also making
They
a
did.
ton more money.
Yeah, the
I
only
don't
time I've
know.
seen that happen is when they, whatever show it was before Harry Potter came in, they paid them to leave so they could get the theater. Because
What's going on
there's
with
so many
Broadway in
Broadway shows
general?
in the what?
It
Broadway in
seems like a
general
lot of shows are
sucks.
getting canceled
Yeah, well, also they're
or
bringing
ending.
these like weird show like they're Phantom is closing and they're
Right,
bringing
that's a
in
big one.
Andrew Lloyd Webber's
One
Bad
second. I
Cinderella.
just want to recognize Angola.
Oh wow.
This is the most
Apuco,
international.
Apuco.
No, Angola.
I know. I like that
We
kid.
have Angola. Hello, and we have where
Apuco.
else? Where else do we have here?
Dubai.
Botswana and
Wow.
Dubai and Hesperia, California. Okay, now continue. Sorry. I just wanted to say hello because that's incredible to me. Hello.
That's
Okay, go ahead.
cool. Well, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, they're making a ton of weird switches. Their Phantom's ending. They're bringing in this other Andrew Lloyd Webber musical called Bad Cinderella, which like no one wants to see.
That guy should never be able to do another show again. He stinks.
Yeah, no,
Who?
it's
He's
fine. Andrew
over.
Lloyd
Andrew Lloyd
Webber.
Webber.
I thought he's the best thing to
No, he
happen.
might have been, but he ruined Broadway. Technically, he with Phantom was the one of the big ones that started. They jacked the prices up and they made all this stuff. But remember, I mean, if you really like Broadway, old school Broadway, he's the worst thing to happen to Broadway because his songs don't have any buttons on them. That just you don't walk away singing anything. I mean, Phantom, maybe there's a couple, but they're all together and they never end, and it's just absolutely awful.
I think if you like really enjoy musical theater as like an art form, like Sondheim is like who you appreciate. And then I think like I don't know, at least in my mind, like people, I feel like a lot of people who come out of state to see New York City, they go to like Andrew Lloyd Webber shows.
Do they?
On Broadway? I feel like
Well,
yeah.
that's
I mean,
only
like
because they know the name. They don't know any better that he,
right. They just
isn't
know
good
like yeah, they're
anymore,
big
right?
names.
So
It's like
that's the
Phantom of the
thing. A guy
Opera,
like that will always
Cats.
be able to get a theater space, whatever. And it's hilarious if he's kicking his own show out to bring in the new one.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheap, 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 talk a lot, pick a little more, pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheap, 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 talk a lot, pick a little more.
Oh, that was another thing too. There was like an issue with the Music Man cast recording where apparently they like let Sutton Foster go flat on one of the songs.
Ooh, she hates that.
And like they didn't like auto-tune it or correct it. They just kept it as
Wow.
was. Yeah. I had heard about that recently.
She's a diva.
Wow, you guys are we had a passing of a comedian recently.
Who? I'm still here.
I know.
Unfortunately.
I forget the one who
Oh, I know.
Giulioli?
A girl?
The one with the
Yeah.
accordion?
Oh,
Did the
Julie Tenuta.
Yeah.
Tenuta,
I
thank
just
you.
saw somebody texting about that, and I didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't either because I
She
was
died?
like,
She's like
she passed.
younger than us? Yes?
Yeah.
Or she older, I guess. Maybe she was older. We
She's
never
been
hear about
around
the women of
forever.
comedy dying. It's always the men.
I found out. I saw someone post. Shecky Beagleman posted, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Because Dan Natterman had brought it up, and the name didn't like ring a bell.
Oh,
And then
remember
I
her
saw the
really well.
picture, and I
She's
remember
in
her with that.
Clueless.
It was the accordion, right? That
Yeah.
she used to, and
She's in
it was
Clueless.
so
She has a small
funny.
part in Clueless. Now that I think about it, you know.
I don't feel like anyone's talking about that.
No,
I've seen a
and
lot of
she was.
comedians talking about it because, like, I mean, I follow a lot of comedians on social media. Like, everyone in that space has been talking about it, but yeah, I don't think anyone,
You know,
outside of the comedy
when we
world
were starting
has.
out, Marina, I mean, she was pretty popular.
Yes.
You know, especially as a female comic back then, when female comics, you know, weren't heralded or good. You know, she was pretty popular.
She was pretty
Whether she
popular,
was
yeah.
good or not didn't make, but she was popular, and the accordion made her interesting.
It was a fun act. It was back when
Yeah, it was a fun
everyone was
act.
different. You know,
And then
like
she was
you
able
had
to do movies and stuff too.
Yeah, you had back then. I think there was just different voices, and now
Was she the
everyone
one that's
sort
in
of sounds the
the
same.
Jack Black or the Damon Wayans Jeff Goldblum movie with Gina Davis? Is that Judy Tenuta? They come down, they're aliens. Jim Carrey's in it too. It's the three of Jeff Goldblum, Damon Wayans, and Jim Carrey are aliens.
I'm not
First
sure.
Girls Are Easy. That's the name of it. Is she in that?
I don't know.
I think she
You're
had
asking the wrong person on
a
that
pretty
one.
good movie career. Like not a like she got a couple of parts, you know, just being a comic.
I'm looking
Being
at
very
now.
popular.
I'm not seeing anything.
Earth Girls Are Easy. That's definitely the name of the movie.
Oh, she had ovarian cancer at
Oh, that's
72. Wow. Yeah.
Evelyn, are you looking up Earth Girls Are Easy?
Yeah, I'm not
Her
seeing that
name's
she
not
was in
mentioned?
it.
It was who was it? It's Gina Davis and who? It's another girl.
It is Julie Brown.
Julie Brown, downtown Julie Brown. No, there were two Julie Browns. You get them mixed up. There was a downtown Julie Brown, the black one, and then there was a Julie Brown who was a comedian. That's right. And you get Judy Tenuta and Julie Brown mixed up, I think.
I just want to acknowledge Robin. Thank you for sending me. And yes, your daughters. Why wouldn't I acknowledge you?
Robin
You're always
Biddleboom.
here, and we appreciate you from Sweden.
Whittle.
Thank you.
Whittleboom.
I do want to say it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month,
Judy
so
Brown.
make sure
Julie
that you get
Brown.
your mammograms. Okay,
gotta
while
look
we're
her
talking about ovarian cancer, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Do not forget, it doesn't matter how young you are. If you have a history of it, make sure advocate for yourself. Tell your doctors.
Wait,
If it's
Julie,
in your history in your family,
it looks
make
just
sure
like
you go
Julie.
in and get your mammogram. Tell your doctors. I would even suggest
Julie
lying
Brown
to
looks
them.
exactly like Judy Tenuta. That's why I used to get them mixed up. They look exactly alike.
What the youngest one is currently dying. Oh, your daughter. Okay. All right. Yes. No. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed. So also this week we had like Mayor Adams call this an emergency with them flying in people seeking asylum.
Yeah.
So and then they had a disaster where he had to move them from the tent
Oh gosh.
to Rikers Island. Is that
No,
what?
no,
think they
Randall's Island. Randall's Island. They moved
Oh, it
from
feels
City
like
Island
Rikers
to Randall's Island. Wait, Evelyn, you said the mayor doesn't live in the city?
Well, no, that was a whole thing during his campaign. That
remember.
was an issue.
Where does he live?
I'm not sure where he lives, but people were thinking that he actually is like living in New Jersey.
I heard that too. That's not true, is it? I mean, that's insane. How
No,
can
he
that be?
doesn't.
They did a tour of his apartment when like to for him to kind of like try to prove that he lived in Brooklyn, and it did not go well. It made it
It did
look
not
like
go
he did not
well. That's
live
so funny.
there.
That's like
so-
in that OJ one where they put out all that African art. Remember in that
in
awesome
the trial.
the
Yeah.
TV series, the mini series. They put
Yeah,
all
well,
the
that's also
African art up there.
real.
What?
That's like that did happen.
So
Right,
DJ
right. No,
Eric
but
Prince
it's
is
funny.
saying he has a brownstone in Brooklyn, so he has several places, but he also grew up in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I don't
You
know.
giving him a pass?
There's a lot of people. I go back and forth with him because like
And a
the
condo in
crime
Jersey
in New
City.
York City is so bad right now. I mean,
Yeah.
in 8 hours,
So
like
bad.
2 people were stabbed on the subway. There's a lot of stabbing.
There was
going
like a
lot of stabbing.
macing at like Union Square yesterday, I think.
Yes, I saw that too. Who did the macing?
I think what I had read was it seemed like 2 people got in an altercation on the subway, and one of them got out their mace and then sprayed it in the subway car. So then everyone in the subway car like was coughing and like vomiting
Oh
because
my
they
God.
essentially also got maced.
Oh,
I
So
forget, you forget that when you use mace or well, pepper spray. Does
Spray,
pepper
yeah.
spray do the same thing?
Yeah, basically, like, if you get
I
in,
never
like,
even
enough
thought about that. You spray
contact,
that on a subway and it causes
it's
all that
gonna
reaction. Jesus Christ, that's so
yeah.
simple to
And
do
it's actually
too.
illegal, right?
Yeah, you're in New York City, you're not allowed to have pepper spray.
But you can have a gun.
Yeah.
Wait, you can't have pepper spray or mace in New York City?
I'm not sure about mace. I mean, probably you're
Is
not
there a
allowed to,
difference?
but in actually there might not be a difference. That's true. But yeah, you're not technically not allowed in New York City
Do you
to have
guys carry
pepper.
something like that around when you're walking around in the
My
nighttime?
mom gave it to me when I had breast cancer.
Everybody's mom
It
gives
was
it to
like
somebody. That's why I'm
it was
asking.
the
Everybody's dad
gift
or
she
mom.
gave me when I had breast cancer. She was like, "Here's mace." I was like, "What? This isn't connecting." But
I
I will
don't
say like
have
it's
any.
I have it, but I just like if you have to use it. Now this is an example of why you can't use it, but then it is kind of crazy like guns are legal, but
Right.
that is not legal.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a
Doesn't make
question. When
sense.
you're walking as women, when you're walking around Manhattan at nighttime, do you carry something in your hand, or do you just walk around like, like a thing of mace, like ready to grab at it at any time, or do you walk calmly like you don't think anything's going to happen?
I mean, I don't have any mace or pepper spray. I have been thinking about getting some, because just to like have it, but I don't have any of that. If I'm out at night, I am just as well. Honestly, anytime I go out now or I'm on the subway, I'm just as aware of my surroundings as I
Good
I
for
could
mean,
you,
are you
because
really
many.
asking me that question? You know how crazy I am. I mean, I look around
Yeah, I am
all
asking
the
you that question, and
time.
I'm telling you that most women are not, as Evelyn said, aware of their surroundings. Most of the women that I go around with, I'm like, "Did you see that?" And they're like, "Just keep talking," and they're not paying attention, and it drives me crazy sometimes. Now, men do it too. I'm just saying, I just noticed the girls that I'm with a lot aren't paying attention. Like one time, I'll never forget, I was walking with this girl and we were on a date, and this car pulled up of guys, and they were like, "Hey, can you tell me where the Deegan is?" And I was like, "Uh-oh, what do they want?" Like, "No, the Deegan." And that's the Major Deegan Expressway, in the road. I'm like, "The Deegan?" I don't know. He goes, "No, my Deegan, your mouth." And it was really funny, and they laughed and went off, and I'm like, that was really funny. But I was like, hey, that was really funny with those guys, and she just kept talking about what she was talking about the whole time and didn't acknowledge that could have gone a completely different direction. Got lucky that these guys were.
Well, a couple of things that you should probably do is I remember one time being in the subway and the cops told me they were like, you got your headphones in. You need to be aware of your surroundings, and if
My
you have your
cop friend
headphones
told me
in,
not to wear them.
yeah, so like for example, like on the weekends the trains go express. A lot of times they pass my local stop, so I have to walk from like
Mm.
125th, which there's been a couple of shootings in Harlem lately, so
And that's where you do the Ethiopian Shim Sham,
it's a
125th Street.
very serious situation going on. So like I actually make sure I don't wear my headphones when I'm walking.
Yeah. No, that's very
From
Yeah,
important.
I
from
just try and
especially
put it
the
on
areas
low.
where it's like,
I put it on low, but it's hard not to wear headphones because what's the point of walking without them? It was like a dream come true since the 80s that you could have a Walkman and be able to listen to music while you're walking, especially in New York City. So it sucks not wearing them. It's not fair.
yeah. But back to the original question I had. I mean, we've kind of gone off course. But what are we going to do with the people who are seeking asylum in New York City? What would you think we should do? As well as you
Put them
brought
on
up
a
a good
boat
point
and send
about
them off to.
What'd you say?
I didn't say anything.
As well as the homeless situation. I keep saying you've got all these buildings in New York City with nothing in it. People are
Right.
working from home. Now they say you cannot do anything with that because for realtors, there's no incentive for them to help.
Right.
You know, we had this situation where they were putting homeless people in hotels, and then people got upset because it made the neighborhood
Well,
filthy. So what are you going to do?
can't blame anybody. I mean, they pay a lot of money for those hotels if you're not homeless. It's
I mean, I think like it's
solution?
hard, right? Because like I think on a bigger scale, like as a person, there's not, as a New Yorker, there's not a lot that like you or I can do to change the situation with the unhoused population, or with like people seeking asylum here. But I do think like like our city government should be putting more money into human services, instead of just like sending police to tear down encampments of homeless people.
What do human services do?
I'm not entirely sure, but like I mean, I think they like provide like housing for, or like try to help unhoused people get housing. I'm sure there's also like the Department of like Health is through that. So getting anyone who needs to like see, doctors, mental health professionals, whatever, like they are able to do that. I think this doesn't, like, I'm not saying like defund the police, but I am saying I think it is in the best interest of the city to stop policing unhoused people and start helping them.
Oh, unhoused people. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I do think, I don't know, defund the police is not popular anywhere anymore, even in the
Right.
Black community. I mean, especially in Harlem. I've been to these meetings,
Yeah.
and Black people want police on the street right now. I mean, it is a serious situation, and as well, they want someone that knows how to deal with what's going on because it is so bad. I mean,
Right.
maybe we can get back to a point where we talk about, you know, where are our funds going, right?
Right.
But I mean, we just had was it a fire EMS worker who was stabbed to death on the
Oh, I
street?
saw that. And
Well,
yeah,
that's the
quickly-
funniest thing in a way, because she was like, it's always, she was in the movies, she was 6 months away from retirement. And I'm just like, if you're 6 months away from retirement, don't leave the house because something always happens.
Oh,
Like in
God.
those movies, they're like, oh, it's too bad he was 6 months away from retirement too.
I didn't know that. That's really
It's really
sad.
fucking sad. Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, it
And she
is
was just going
horrible.
for groceries, and she
And
did all
no,
this
that's
effort
actually
and
incorrect. They said, please stop saying that. In the news, they were saying that
that's what they
she
told
was
us.
going for lunch, when in reality, what she was doing was she was going to address the situation because someone said someone was out of control.
Mm.
So the story
Are you
has
sure? I haven't heard that story.
yeah, I watched it on the
So
news.
she was going to help this crazy guy that actually stabbed her.
She was going to a situation. I don't know if it was to him, but she was
Well,
going to a situation, and that's
what was she
important. The details
carrying? How did she approach it? I don't know. It all seems bad.
is not what I'm saying. That's not my point. But the thing is that it's really important that they get the details right so that we do know how to address if what it is mental illness on the street. I mean, these are things that are happening during the day.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
told you this all stems from being locked up for 2 years.
Yeah,
That's
we
why it's happening.
about that. We've got to
It
deal.
makes so much sense. Right. And we have to deal with it, but I don't know how you deal with it except just let everybody out and stop with I know you are guilty of this too. We just stop with the pandemic, and I know it's still out there. We just got to live our lives. The news has to
You
stop
have
talking
to
about
still address what is the aftermath, though.
Maybe, but I think that's what's driving people insane.
No, we're out. No one
Everybody's
gives a fuck.
afraid to go out.
No,
and-
Juskow, no one cares anymore. No one cares. There's is not an excuse because
No,
you
yeah.
don't have to wear a mask.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
The
No,
CDC.
right. We
No,
don't
let me
want
finish.
people to
Let me
care
Let me
anymore.
finish. The CDC just said We're going to stop doing the daily day thing. It's a weekly. They don't give a fuck. The airlines, everyone's flying. I've been everywhere. No one gives a fuck. What's going on is we as Americans sweep everything under the rug and we just keep on moving. And you cannot do that. There is a fallout. I just know in my own life, day to day, the friends that I hear dealing with depression, friends getting divorced, there is a real health, mental component going on globally, but specifically in America, because we just want to keep moving on. That's not going to help us. We have to, in some way, like we always, you want to talk about the homeless being a problem. You know where they're really useful is when they're on the train and they give a little speech.
Oh, so annoying.
And this was, I like to take a moment. Well,
It's
we
the
need to take a moment. We
Yeah.
really do.
I agree with that.
EMTs and police officers don't get breaks. Have or get breaks. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. I went to the farmer's market today. I almost had.
You did.
Oh, I almost got into it with this dude. My rage
We
was like
believe you.
so on top. I was having such a good time. And then I was standing in line, and it was one of those lines where there's food on the side of you while you're standing in line. So I went to go pick up these tomatoes. And because the tomatoes were kind of falling out of the thing, and I was taking maybe for this guy a little bit too long, he decides to walk around me and cut me in line. And I said, "No, motherfucker, you don't see me standing right here?" When I say he did not expect that, I said, everyone's in such a goddamn hurry. It's the farmer's market. What the hell is wrong with you? Now, true story, a week, Thursday, I went to the Whole Foods and on 125th, and I accidentally bumped into a senior citizen, and she said, "Excuse you." I was like, what are we in high school? So it was like a touche.
Right,
I couldn't believe she said, I haven't heard that since. "Excuse you." I was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
I haven't heard that in a while either. That's so funny.
And she was like at least 70 something years. I get into fights with senior citizens in Harlem all the time. It's really crazy.
And we believe you.
But yeah, that person, and then the guy who took my tomatoes and my pear, this is the time to get pears. He was really nice to me. He says, "Oh, you come prepared." He goes, "That's so nice of you." I go, "Thank you. Yes, I am nice, but there are some assholes."
Pears, not peaches. Okay, because I got a bad peach the other day from this.
Well, that's because it's not season.
It's not in season.
Oh, that's the thing. So I go to this.
Do you
farm
know
every
what
Thursday.
fruits are in season?
Well, I go to this farm every Thursday, and they're finally back with the apple cider. So I assume apples are in season, and it is delicious.
Well, yes, you assume like October apples are always.
Well, they didn't. The reason why I like this place is because they were selling apple cider all the way down till I guess the beginning of the year, and then they stopped. I'm like, why don't you have apple cider anymore? And they're like, it's not in season. I'm like, oh, that's a bummer, but I like that answer that they're not selling it when it's not in season.
Well, yeah. What's the hardest thing to get right now is it's basil. I can't find basil.
Oh, really?
Anywhere. And I don't know what it is, but lately I love basil.
It's just like the perfect herb to put on anything.
You said what?
Marina,
I just said it's the perfect thing.
You say I look good today?
Yeah. I like what you're wearing.
Yeah, they're all commenting on my glasses. I wear.
I was about to say, they're not
these
new.
are good glasses because they don't have the reflective things.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
And these are reading glasses, but it's really because the other ones, I brought a couple of options for you guys to see actually.
Oh, yeah.
So these are those. And
those are ridiculous.
Yeah, these
do
look.
Though.
These do look.
No, absolutely not.
What?
They're horrible.
They look good.
No, it looks like you're making a joke about wearing glasses.
And then these are too.
It looks like you're mocking people who wear glasses.
These are too studious.
Well, that's the serious Marina. Yes.
It's like, did you read what I told you to read? Don't mess with me. I ain't playing with you. I told you to read it. Then there's this one. This one, these are old. You guys have seen these, but
Oh,
you
that's
see
so
it just
funny. Look at the wow. It's amazing how they can figure out how to not reflect them like that. That's cool.
well, these do. You see it has the screen,
Yeah.
but they do this.
Oh, I
Oh,
forgot they did that.
cool.
It's so
I
funny.
took
But
some pictures
I
for
have
work,
been
and they have
working out
glasses
with
one.
sexy. I call him sexy Sergio. Oh no, not these glasses. I call him sexy Sergio. I work out and with
Oh, those
him,
are
I'm
great.
trying to
Those
lose
really
weight.
are good glasses. Now that you've tried the others, it's amazing how they're not reflective. That's how did you
Yeah, I
figure that
just
out?
noticed that. I didn't realize it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And these are. I'm gonna buy some more from whoever they are. I got them from The View. I always watch The View, and then they
Nice.
tell me like, view your deal. It's
It's
Oprah's.
Joy's 80th birthday today.
Who?
Joy
Sure.
Behar.
Oh yes,
It's at
that's
the
right.
View,
They were
right?
mentioning it on The View, but I thought it was Friday.
Oh, maybe. Okay. Well, maybe it was. My friend just posted today. He's pretty close with her. My friend
I
Evan.
love Joy Behar on The View. I'm glad
She's
they brought
great.
her back.
Me
She's like an
too.
interesting story because she's been off and then on again, and I'm back, and I'm like she just works with that show.
Yeah, she's really cool.
I think I don't watch a ton of the view, but what I have seen it, I always feel like very like I don't know, anchored with her opinion. Like I think she always brings something like really interesting to the conversation.
Now Whoopi, on the other hand, let's see
Whoopi.
Whoopi, who I adore, but I will say she shuts down Robin. Is it
Mm.
Robin all the time, or am I saying her name right?
Oh, I can't remember.
She's Puerto Rican. She's half black, half Puerto. She's beautiful. I feel like I'm
I
saying
think
her
her
name,
name
Keep
is
up with
Robin.
who's on that show
but
anymore.
she always shuts her. Like every time she has something to say, she's like opposes what she says. And I try not to watch. I don't watch the show as much as I used
It's
to.
hard to watch. They're just
Yeah,
it's a little
it's weird.
I think
Oh, do you
Whoopi's a
mean
little
Sunny
annoying.
I
Austin?
mean, Sunny,
Oh,
thank
Yeah,
you.
she's
I
yeah.
don't know why I
pretty.
said right. Yeah, she's beautiful, but every time she has a point of view, it's like Whoopi's just like, oh,
Yeah,
no,
Whoopi
no,
doesn't have
come on.
time for her. Yeah.
She
You get
doesn't have
feeling
time,
bad.
and I'm like, is this my imagination? Like, what's going on?
Mm.
Yeah. I was watching an old classic movie last weekend with
Boy, she's
Vivian Lee.
pretty.
Mm.
Vivian Lee in her last, I put it in my story, was Ship of Fools. Do you remember Ship
Oh,
of Fools, Juskow?
No, is that after Streetcar Named Desire?
It was her last role.
So it was after. Is she still alive? Or I
No,
mean,
she died
but did
after
she die
that
like?
role,
Oh, she died after that role. Do you know what year it
shortly
was?
after. I don't, but I know the Ship of Fools is about a ship that's going during right after the Holocaust, I believe. Or
Oh, I'm amazed by
it's
her
a weird
because she won the
moment.
Oscar obviously for Scarlett O'Hara, and then she won another one 20 years later, which was you just think sometimes you make a movie like that, and then nobody ever kind of heard of her again, and then she just makes this comeback, and I don't really know her story. I
Well,
think
I'll tell
she's
you, it was the
interesting.
saddest thing. I was watching it, and then on Turner Classic Movie, they always give you the story afterwards.
Oh
mm.
yeah, I like
And
that.
she was going through a lot of depression during Ship of Fools, and Katharine Hepburn was supposed to play the part, but Katharine Hepburn was taking care of that man that she was in love with who couldn't get a divorce.
Oh, yeah.
And
Not
yeah,
Spencer
so
Tracy, somebody else.
Yeah. No, Spencer Tracy,
no,
I think.
Spencer Tracy. She was taking care of Spencer Tracy and turned down the role, and so that's how
65. Thank you, Kiki.
Vivian Lee got it, and she died at 53 years
Oh,
old
that's what I
right
was gonna say.
after
So she died really young. Wow. I
of
always wondered what happened.
tuberculosis.
Oh my
Oh, that's so
gosh.
sad. Like
It
Audrey
is.
Hepburn kind of
It
died
it broke
young
my
too,
heart
right?
that day. I was like, "Vivian, what was wrong?"
These
And they
people all
said,
died before we were born, so it gets confusing, like her and well, Audrey Hepburn died really young too. Like we didn't get to know about her, or something like, you know what I mean?
I feel like
Those
that
those
always
"Yeah."
icons.
happens with like Turner Classic Movies, like which I love also. Like they'll do the movie and then they'll like give you information like afterwards. And it's always like the saddest story you've ever heard
Right.
about the
After she made the
actors.
film, she said she would never come back to Hollywood again. The reason, because men were hitting on her. I don't know. Right. It's always like they say it really
Truly so
serious.
sad.
What is going on with Elon Musk, and why won't he shut his trap?
I don't know. I saw that he's like might buy Twitter again. Like, I thought that was over. Like, I thought we decided that he wasn't going to buy Twitter.
No, he has to now because
He
his
has
lawyers
to?
told him. His lawyers told him there's no way out of this. You started it. You got to finish it. And here's the thing: he doesn't have the money, so he's selling his shares of his own shares of Tesla.
Really?
And the stock, really, yes, because the stock has dropped since I bought the damn thing.
Oh,
So I got the
no.
wrong entry point. I went in on the wrong entry point. I should have paid attention to.
There was no one to pay attention to except just stick with corn and leave it at that.
Corn is doing quite well.
So what do you do with that then? Like, so like Tesla's like stock has dropped. Like, are you gonna ditch
Marina,
it?
you are so
Like,
funny.
are you
I
gonna
know.
hold on
I,
to
I
it?
did a I called Juskow before I had to do this corporate event, and I told them all they were like venture capitalists or
Right.
capital people, and I told them, I said, corn, corn, glorious corn.
Oh, I said, what are you going to talk about? She's like, corn.
But I should have listened to Dov Davidoff. He told me, he says, whoa, 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 with the Tesla entry point, you got to wait. Look at the 200 moving average. And when you look at the charts, I don't know if you guys have ever looked at the charts, but the 200 moving average changes if you look by minute, day, week. I had it on minute, and that's why I made the wrong choice.
Oh, no.
So the 200 moving average for Tesla right now is about 196, 198, and I got in at 275, and it's right now the stock is 223.
Okay.
I'm holding. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
look. I'm trying not to look.
Well,
Noam
it's
told
gonna
Noam
go up
told me to
again,
stop
right.
looking.
Yeah,
That's what Noam
right.
said. He
Because
goes,
it's going
relax.
to go up again. It's Tesla's a really good buy. It's going to be it's a huge car. It's going to get bigger by the minute when most people like myself who still have big gas guzzling cars finally decide to make a move. I never thought I would get an electric car. I always was jerks, and I wanted sissies, and now I realize 10 years after the fact when everybody else was on board that these are great. These cars are amazing. They're
And
so
in New
not
York
like what
City,
we
they're
thought
gonna
they were.
have is it an incentive for getting electric cars? I think they're gonna. It's like what California is doing.
Oh, yeah. I think that there probably will be
It,
incentives for
I mean,
that.
my parking garage doesn't have a point to what do you call it, to charge it up,
Right.
but I feel like a lot of the parking garages will very shortly, especially when you're paying $700 a month to park there. It's kind of weird
Oh
that
my
they
gosh.
don't have one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Pretty
just
uncool.
I watched this whole thing on what happened with GameStop and how I didn't really understand at the time what had happened, like
Right.
why it was going so crazy because I wasn't studying stocks. And then someone said, "Watch the movie and the sort of documentary about what happened during the pandemic and why that and what
So
Robinhood had done."
check this, right? Robinhood's a piece of shit, what they
Yeah.
did, but I got on that GameStop thing by accident because I was gambling or trading. It's the same thing. All I was doing was from the movie Trading Places,
Oh
where
my
Eddie
God.
Murphy gives that story of why you have to buy pork bellies are going to go down because it's Christmas time and my son ain't going to get the doll with the kung fu grip. And I was like, so I said, because it's Christmas time, I'm going to bet on GameStop. And I didn't realize what was happening. And I ended up making all this money. And then I found out it was a big scam, and I got out in time, but I
Oh,
didn't
you
realize
got out in time, yeah.
I didn't realize what was going on. And
That's
then
so funny.
Robinhood not letting people buy. Oh my God, they shouldn't be in business anymore.
No, that's
yeah.
illegal.
That guy should be
When
in
people
prison.
tell me they're on Robinhood, I'm like, and I didn't
I
really
got out right
understand at
after
the
that. I was
time.
betting through Robinhood.
Yeah,
Oh.
after I saw this movie, I was like, I know several people who've told me, "Oh, I just have Robinhood." I'm like, "You need to watch this movie because after you see this, you would never." I'm on Fidelity. Is it true that years ago, like if you were trying to invest in the stock market, they weren't letting people do it because they didn't
Yeah.
have a broker?
And that's right. That was one thing. And then that's what these guys who are, who run this, pretty much the guys from Trading Places that run the stock market, got to these kids that were trying to. I mean, think about it. Now that Reddit phase isn't a thing anymore, and they stopped them. They got to Robinhood, and they're like, you don't let any of these jerk offs. When they make this movie, when Oliver Stone makes this movie, then you'll see like these scary guys that run the stock market told them they have to stop, and we don't want kids like teenagers figuring out our plan.
It was
Really
the best
scary.
way to occupy Wall Street, though. It was such an
It was brilliant. It was
amazing.
brilliant for a while, and then the guys caught wind to it, the big bears, as they call them, and shut
Yes.
it down. It totally illegally. It's terrifying what happened.
Yeah.
Did they ever pay for that, for shutting it down? Was there any?
No, that's what I'm saying. That
Yeah, I
guy
don't think so.
who was head of Robinhood should be in jail.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I guess there's really no regulation for it, and that's the reason he's not.
Well,
I
that's like the
guess
same
you can
thing.
you can not let people not purchase stock if you want, I guess.
I mean, that's the
It's
same
fine.
thing with like the 2008 financial crisis. Like, none of the bankers who facilitated that happening, who sold like risky mortgages that they bet against, like, I think the most jail time anyone served was maybe like 2 weeks.
Yes, because there's no, this happens a lot. People find loopholes.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
and then after the fact, and then there's a law after that. But, there's
Right.
always going to be somebody who finds a loophole. I've been thinking about this with Aaron Judge, who,
Mm.
did break the Roger Maris's record a couple days ago. And, the Maris family saying, I'm so glad somebody clean. They just kept saying clean,
That's
not
what I was
on
about to
steroids.
say. Because like this whole, because I wasn't really into it because I remember like the Sammy Sosa,
Exactly
like Mark
right.
McGuire, like they did it, but I'm assuming they're saying that doesn't really count because they weren't
Everybody's
clean.
saying it doesn't count. There should be an asterisk near their name because they cheated. However, and I'm agreeing with them because I don't want them in the Hall of Fame, and I do think there's something to it. But at that time, they were cheating, but there wasn't a real rule about it. And you have to
Right.
blame the commissioner of baseball, this Bud Selig. He's the guy that kind of just let it go.
Yeah.
So you can't really blame these guys. You want to blame them because they took this record of, baseball is so about stats and history,
Right.
and they ruined it. But in a way, was there any regulation? Now there's very strict regulations that
Right.
get tested all the time. If you are doing it, you're gone for a year, maybe more.
Right.
But back then it was a gray area. And that's the problem with all this stuff.
Yeah.
There's always somebody trying to beat the system.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
Well, someone
Marina's
said,
trying to do
Miss.
it right now with corn.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to stick with index funds. Yeah, they say that. I do individual stocks. I'm pretty. I mean, I know what I'm doing now, so I'm pretty good. I know what's going on. I know how to analyze. There's a great book on how to analyze stocks, but I don't have it in front of me. I'll bring it next week so you guys can see it, how to read the charts. But it is nice to know that I am going to, in 5 or 6 years, make some money off of my money. I never had this interest before, but I do now. Let's talk about Kanye West
Oh.
wearing White Lives Matter. And it says here, he said the answer is why I wrote White Lives Matter on a shirt is because they do. It's the obvious thing, he told Tucker Carlson.
Mhm.
He also noticed that someone had called him the previous night and said anybody wearing a White Lives Matter shirt is going to be greenlit. And that means that they're going to beat them up if they wear it. And I'm like, okay, greenlit me
Greenlit was a
then.
good thing.
That's what I thought too, but I
Yeah.
guess that's a new term. But it's just like, it's this weird thing with black men right now, with the Republican Party and Trump. I've heard so many black
That
men
Herschel Walker, that
who
crazy.
look up to Trump, and they
Yeah.
look up to, it's interesting. I don't know why. A lot of people say the social media is targeting them in a way. It's very intentional, and
Yeah.
they're getting the wrong information intentionally.
I didn't realize, when they were saying that Herschel Walker, I didn't know the whole story when they were saying he paid for this lady's abortion. I was like, well, what's wrong with that? I didn't realize his stance was against abortion. I had no idea. I never would have thought a black guy would be, a Republican against abortion. It didn't occur to me.
There's a lot of
I guess that's
black
racist.
individuals who are look, even like we just said, Sunny Hostin, who's on The
Yeah.
View, she's a Catholic. She's not for abortion, but she's not also about telling someone else what to do with their body.
Right.
You know,
That's
you
the
Right.
whole
can
thing.
have that belief, but you just the way
Sure.
you tell someone
That's all
about,
anybody asks. Right.
you know, this is like
Yeah.
uh
The whole thing with Kanye West is just, I mean, from my perspective, like, I don't know, it's really sad to see someone using their platform in that way, in a way that is like so harmful to their own community and to people. Like I remember like when I was growing up, like in the early 2000s, people loved Kanye West and he made really good music. And I mean, I haven't really paid attention to his music since then, but I know he was someone that a lot of people looked up to. So it's been really sad to see that
there's a
transition.
number of black men in that position that don't take a stance that
Right.
we really need right now. I mean, I don't say every artist has to be political, but
Yeah.
wearing a White Lives Matter t-shirt is definitely unnecessary. They
Well, I
say
Right.
don't
that
know.
more black men are on YouTube right now getting
Interesting.
all this false, you know, on YouTube where we're at right now. You know, once you watch one video, they
Yeah.
then feed you more videos of the same.
Right.
So this is one of those. I
It's
mean,
so true.
this is all like, well, this is because we talked about it
When I
actually.
look up the $6 Million Man videos, they're like, you might also like the Bionic Woman. Exactly.
But
Exactly.
yeah, but it's like on Friends Like Us, just to bring it back to why we do this is to the, you know, to hopefully you go to the Friends Like Us podcast, as you see scrolling beneath we had a really great episode with Hillary Holly, and she talks about that intentional misinformation that is targeting specifically black men on YouTube. So I don't know if you're here and you're watching, or at some point you watch this and you leave us like, you know, a little nasty comment. I'm glad you're watching.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. says, all I know about Herschel Walker is that he went into Strike First still looking like a superhero, even though he was old and he destroyed what? What's going on?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure he's done like entertainment type stuff, but I don't know.
You know, Stace is the only women we have on the show today. Yes.
Hello,
In the chat room.
Stace.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
so.
guess you're right.
It's all dudes. You should be
And
happy.
Wow.
Scooby Doofus is here. I didn't even see that.
That's so wild.
Oh, I do have my own basil in a plant over in the corner here, but I don't want to use it because it's a plant. So I feel like if I
Good
take it
point.
and I eat it, I'll miss it.
Mm,
I'll miss the basil.
sounds delicious.
Yeah. So Evelyn, give us some of our
Yeah.
reviews or any
Yeah.
shout outs.
Absolutely. So yeah, I grabbed these reviews from Twitter. But as a reminder, you should leave Friends Like Us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That way, it makes it easier for people who aren't currently listening to Friends Like Us to become listeners. So this shout out comes from Twitter from Devin Nixon, who was responding to a tweet about an episode, who said, "So good. Thank you, Marina Franklin, for your consistency delivering Friends Like Us. One of the few podcasts that I stuck with over the years." This episode, speaking about not this most recent episode, actually, but so this episode is in my top 5, which is really nice. And yeah, then I grabbed another shout out from a friend of the podcast, Sully, Paul Francis Sullivan.
Oh yeah, he
Um,
always has nice
I
things.
know, yeah, very lovely. He said, "Friends Like Us, the wonderful, funny, smart, and always relevant podcast from Marina Franklin." So I thought that was really, really nice as
It has
well.
gotten really good. We have a guest on that currently is we're talking about making your own seat at the table, creating your own seat at the table, turning no's into yeses. Don't accept the no's from Hollywood. You could always do it. She
Yeah.
is a showrunner. She's one of the few black female showrunners. She's a showrunner on the show called Ovation, which is on AMC, and she's just so sweet. I mean, it was I don't know if TB is here. He's usually here, but TB was backstage, and it was one of the just you know, I don't know her. And so it
Yeah.
was just an easy conversation that we had.
Oh, great.
So I really enjoyed talking with her. And then we have another one coming out this week. I forget who was on it. Look, I have so many guests that want to come on the show now that I'm like,
That's so
I'm just
exciting.
impressed that they even know about the podcast and they want to be featured. And I get a lot of emails from people saying, I've been listening to it for so long, and it just thank you for giving us this good information. So this isn't the podcast, this is the YouTube live. Stace, what the hell? How did they try to buy a PC using your PayPal account?
No.
How?
Someone tried to buy.
Yeah,
Yeah, she
yeah.
says
She
I thought
caught
she
it.
said
because
she
someone
tried to
tried
buy.
to
Well, I've done that
buy.
before. Well,
How?
it happens. People get hacked.
It's lucky that you caught it in progress, though. I've never heard of that, like of someone being able to stop it while it was happening.
PayPal they're saying there is some issues going on with the security
Ooh.
of PayPal, but my God, that's insane. Do you know who did it? Was this someone you knew?
Oh my God.
No, it couldn't have been somebody she
That'd be
knew.
so dramatic.
How can they get into the PayPal?
I mean,
I
it's
don't
easy.
know.
These people are professionals. We thought my mom's credit card got hacked the other day. It got blocked at a Nordstrom's. And then when he called, she goes, well, there was a bunch of red flags, a bunch of donations to the Holocaust Memorial Fund and the Jewish Federation. And I'm like, oh, no, that's her.
There's so much. I feel so you like if you're a senior citizen or elder right now, the amount of corruption and just con people it is on, especially after the pandemic. There is so much just shadiness. I get things that I have to look at all the time, and I'm like, wait, what?
I
She just
know.
explained what happened. You put it up
Yes. American Express sent me, I put that up before, a notification. It was through Office Depot. Actually talked to the perp. Wow.
there. No,
American
she just
Express.
said that they hacked my Office Depot account, which had my PayPal linked to my Amex.
Wild.
Oh, that
Right.
may be a good thing to have the PayPal linked to your Amex then, because Amex is pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe
Speaking
I have it
of,
linked to my bank. I probably shouldn't do that, I guess.
the student loan situation is a little crazy, right? Is it you
Well,
have to
yeah,
consolidate
it's
your loans in order to get the money back or whatever?
I think so. I'm not
Good for you,
entirely
Stace.
sure, because I am actually very fortunate in that I don't have any student loans.
Oh, I do. So I'm trying to get that
I
money.
know. Well, my girlfriend does. She has quite a few student loans. But
You're
it's just like
gay? Sorry, it's funny for me every time.
I think the thing that's just like really confusing right now is that like they keep saying they're going to like they keep like pushing it back, and so it's like not entirely like you're never entirely sure of like when payments are going to resume. I think they will like officially start resuming in the new year, I believe. At least for my girlfriend anyway. But yeah, it's confusing, and they're only forgiving like $10,000 for like certain people, but it's like for so many people $10,000 really like isn't even half of their student loans.
People are arguing that they shouldn't forgive.
I
And we
know.
just talked about Wall Street and how corrupt they were and
Yeah.
how they never had to deal with the consequences. And
Yeah.
yet they don't want to forgive student loans.
It's so crazy. Like the argument that I've seen a lot of people have have been like, well, all these other people didn't have their loans forgiven. So, like, why should these people? And it's like, why wouldn't you want something like, why wouldn't you want American citizens to like have something good happen to them? Like, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to people who feel like they may miss out if their loans aren't forgiven, but I think it's good for our economy generally if people are not in debt, so then they can spend more on other things, and generate, movement across. It's ridiculous.
Speaking of the insanity of watching stocks, this is
Yeah.
why it is good. This is how you find out exactly how corrupt things are. The talk about unemployment being low was a negative thing.
Really?
According to, because that means that this guy who keeps talking about, the interest rates, and I got to he's being all hawkish with the interest rates. I know I
Right.
use these terms, it's annoying. But because the unemployment is still low and people have jobs, that means that it's just too they got to like even it out somehow. So like all the stocks dropped when they realized that
Oh,
people had jobs.
that's crazy.
I was like, I've never paid attention to things this way. And in
Yeah.
legislation, like if you were like all like senators, they have
Yeah.
to show what kind of stocks options they have
Right.
because they get the first dibs on knowing what legislation and how it's going
I
to affect.
know. It's crazy. I feel like if you're a senator, you should not be allowed to. I mean, I know that like investing and having a diverse portfolio is important, but I don't think senators, people in government should be allowed to do that because they make so much money. Like they've become millionaires, and it's happened. Like the former senator from Georgia, I forget her name, Kelly Loeffler, I think. She made so much money when like the pandemic started because she knew like certain like insider trading type things because of legislation.
Yeah, Mike Dickatoo says that they have abused it so much. And
Yeah.
back to Stacy, I'm so glad you got to tell. Yeah, I canceled. Sorry, I canceled your order. That is wild.
Well,
Yeah.
that's scary that you had to even have any communication with this person.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, speaking of craziness, right? This was the week of me addressing the community board against that noisy restaurant
Oh, how did that
downstairs.
go?
Actually, I always feel like I'm like being in like Kramer versus Kramer or something. Like I have this big like legal speech.
Right.
Like I'm a comedian, but when I have to address stuff like this, my heart starts pounding because I want to get it right and I want to get
Mhm.
all. Let me tell you something about Harlem's gentrification. Black folks in Harlem are responsible for what's going on in Harlem. You know what? I'm gonna stop blaming white folks. They're responsible too.
Thank
But
you.
no, you don't get a complete pass. You don't get a complete pass, motherfucker. But I'm telling you, wealthy Black people are responsible for a lot of displacement that is going on in Harlem right now. When I say what I saw on that community board was so unfair. They had the woman whose bar is making all of this noise and where it's not a livable situation for us. They had her, you know how on Zoom when it's a webinar, you only
Yeah.
have the person who's speaking there and then the people who are not important, it's only a voice.
Right. Yeah.
So her video was up, but
Hmm.
we were just a voice. She got like all of this time to talk, but we had like literally less than a minute to and our say our point. And
Right.
then one of the community board members says this. So I went to your bar just yesterday and it was lovely and it was quiet. And I'm like, you can't you can't know about noise
Yeah.
by coming from the place of
Right.
where the noise is the problem. You have to actually go, especially not the night before they're getting their liquor license renewed. You have to
Yeah.
go randomly. You have to
Hmm.
go on a night when they don't expect it. We don't expect it. You have to go when it's a holiday. It's very obvious stuff, but I was like, this is insane. And
Yeah.
so, and then I saw pictures of the woman who owns the bar with the police precinct.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I'm talking like it's political,
Hmm.
like, and this is a white woman who has now not one, not two, but three businesses in Harlem.
I didn't even know she had more than just the bar.
Oh yeah, she has three businesses. She claimed she didn't have enough money to fix the soundproofing system and then opened up a new business.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's just like but we did get like 10 no's, like some of the community boards said no to her. But when I just watched it and I was like, "You know what? This is really sad." I'm watching these it's all who you know, who's tied. She had 4 people on there to give her like really like something like they were saying great things about her
Yeah. Yeah.
and all of them were a part of the of her company.
Oh wow.
So every street has like an association, like Frederick Douglass Board Association.
Right.
She's
Right.
the president of it.
Oh wow.
And they all were like, well, it's a lovely business.
Oh my God.
I was like, this is crazy. And I was
That's
thinking
like a
about sharing it
conspiracy.
on, huh?
It's like a conspiracy almost.
No, it's the deeper I've gone into just noise, the reason I stay on top of this is because I'm starting to see all of the corruption that is existing in Harlem right now. I didn't know. I'm just, I just want to get sleep at night. And
Right.
then get this. So she brings up that we put signs up in our hallways for anyone who wants to come to the community board. She brings that up. She's like, and Marina put signs up in her hallway asking
What?
people.
Why do they care about that?
Yeah, she goes, asking people to attend the community board. I go, it was a community board member who said, can you get more people from your building to come to the community board? And get this, the signs, one of the neighbors, she's a senior citizen, she was can't sleep, whatever, she's putting up the signs. The signs were taken down.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, how does she know about the signs?
Yeah, you don't live in this building. That's so weird.
Guess how? She
has a spy.
Yes. Guess who?
Me.
My neighbor upstairs.
Oh my
Why would
God.
why would an upstairs neighbor do that?
Yeah.
Because she works for her.
Oh my God.
She's putting people in the building who work for her.
That's so crazy. That's crazy.
And I'm like, you know what? You motherfuckers get what you deserve when you see when she's got all of you in situations where you get what you deserve. All you black motherfuckers on here going, oh, she's lovely. She's great. I was like,
You're saying the person that owns this bar is putting people living in the people that work for her, she's giving them apartments?
Yes,
maybe,
the girl who actually
Evelyn, maybe
is.
you and I should work there.
Yes, they are using her. I'm sure they're using her to drive out noise. It's very effective. Yeah, the plot thickens.
That's brilliant.
The plot
That's
thickens.
actually brilliant. You are up against some troublemakers there.
I'm up against. This is the thing that I'm more of like. I'm more of like, I didn't realize like something simple as sound would this rabbit hole that I'm seeing. One of the guys who used to go there to eat all the time, Benjamin, who was like a lieutenant governor.
Oh, wow.
He was corrupt. Did you see that? He got arrested. He's in jail.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I do know who you're talking about.
Benjamin, I forget what his name.
Oh, gosh.
Who worked with our governor, Kathy Hochul.
Yeah.
He had all of these funds that they couldn't explain, and he's in jail.
And he ate at the bar?
He used to eat there all the time.
Oh my God.
For free. He and his father.
This woman is seriously connected.
They don't. That's what's happening in Harlem right now. Is a lot of people are so worn out from the pandemic. They don't have the energy,
right,
to do this. I would never have known any of this had I not dealt with the noise issue.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't have known any of this had I not gone to the community board and seen exactly what was going on.
Sure.
And I was like, wow, this is insanity.
That is crazy.
Yeah, the landlord strike. Oh, Mister, the landlord strikes back. He's got a title.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah, there is a reason that sound is used to torture people, to drive them away. Oh, yes, I believe it. It is definitely a factor of displacement. I've said it. I said it at the community board. I go, this is not just. Oh, and this is what she also said. She goes, these are two women. There's just two women complaining who have nothing better else to do.
Oh my God.
She goes, and one of them is a disgruntled worker of mine. The girl used to work for her. So she painted us as like two like lonely women who have nothing else to do but complain about sound.
Well, that's about right.
But I was like, yeah, this is I said that I go, if you don't hear the whistle on that one as a community board, I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
You know what the worst thing is, Marina? If somebody did that to me, because I've been complaining about my neighbors, which has never happened in 20 years, they're going to say that he's just a lonely old man who has nothing else. It'll be true. It's sad. I have nothing else going on.
Well, that's the thing. Sound in New York has always been a problem.
Right. I've been having so much trouble. There was like just a loud ring going on today outside, for like a tone, like a dog thing that went on for an hour. I could hear it, let alone the work they're doing on my street with pipes dropping and everything. They ripped up the whole street. It's a disaster.
Well, they have block parties now. Today
Oh.
they don't have it. So they have block parties with loud music and everything. And so one of the things that they wanted to say to me was, this is a cultural thing. You don't like black music in Harlem. I'm black, motherfucker. What? Look at me.
Yeah.
My lawyer, who's black, who lives down the street, she's like, I don't like that shit either. I don't want it.
Oh my
It's
God.
it's just to help the businesses out. Let me tell you something. New York is going to have a really hard lesson because what they're doing is they're not taking care of the people. They're taking care of only the businesses because they know businesses, if the businesses aren't here, there's no city.
Right.
But you got to do both. You got to figure it out. Anyway,
totally.
we got to get out of here. The lonely old man who plays video games, they're attacking you.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, hey TV, we brought you up early. We brought you up earlier about how great this episode was and how easy it was to talk to the guest we had on this week, the showrunner for Covenant on AMC. She also works with Tyler Perry, which
Shut up, Steve.
okay, I said I'm a fan of Tyler Perry, but I just watched Jazz Man's Blues on Netflix, and when I say it was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Not only that, she called me up after watching it and really complained about it then too.
I said
She
someone
really
needs.
hates it.
I mean, it was.
You got to call a white man and complain about Tyler Perry.
Well, because they have a moment. They had like a really like almost like a hacky they're running away from slavery, and then there's a manager who's Jewish, and then he goes, in Poland, my family, and it was just so like I was like,
Yeah.
stop it, like do it genuinely, don't.
Yeah.
This is so just contrived. I see what you're doing, and it's not working, and it's just so insulting. And then they have like a girl who looks biracial, like she's passing.
Mhm.
They show her aging, like how they
Ooh.
show 90 years later. They show
Right.
like the older version of that person.
Yeah.
And when I say they did not find an actress that was older that
Ooh.
could look like a mixed biracial older
Right.
woman, they literally brought in like Betty White looking.
Oh God.
White. And when I said if I was in a movie theater, all the church women would have said, hell no, that ain't the same girl. Someone said that would be a good review for movies. Black women just going, how many
That's so funny.
This is a
Oh, that's so funny.
All right, we gotta get out of here. Oh, thank you, Stacey. Yeah, everyone should be a Patreon friend. Thank you. We haven't seen you backstage in a while, Stace. So hopefully we'll see you there again. And yeah, because on Patreon you get to go backstage and watch us recording the Friends Like Us podcast live.
That's so cool.
So thank you. That was a wonderful episode. Thank you. I know more people should take advantage of the backstage, and they don't. There's only 3 seats.
Yeah.
And only TP, you're the only one. So, all right, guys. Evelyn, tell our viewers where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Evelyn G. Frick. You can also check out my website, evelynfrick.com, which has all my writing up there. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just covered Juskow's face.
It's okay.
Juskow, tell our viewers where they can find you.
Well, we have a big fan of yours, Molly Heckerling, on the Tuesday show this week, the Comedy Cellar Nightly Show at 6:00 on YouTube. And
who's that?
Molly Heckerling. She loves you. We wanted her to come on this show.
Oh.
But then because she moved to Vermont, so I thought you had a lot to talk about.
I'm going there this week.
So you see what I'm talking about.
I'm going to go see the leaves change.
Yeah.
Oh,
so yeah, she just moved her family out there, just like a month ago.
Wow.
Where in Vermont? Can you say?
I don't know. That's why I was going to have her on the show, but then you
tell her
like,
I'll be there on Tuesday.
No white motherfucker. No, I will tell her that. Maybe you should meet her and walk around. Maybe she could show you around. She's the best. This is Amy Heckerling's daughter, and she's way cool. The woman who directed and wrote Clueless and Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
That's cool.
And her dad is Harold Ramis. One who made Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day.
Right.
Pretty impressive. My dad sold bras and girdles and panties.
Well, everyone needs bras.
It's true.
Yeah, I suppose so.
It sounds like a Simpson. I mean, not a Simpson, a Seinfeld episode.
I know it's
Yeah.
exactly like that. It's just really messed up that, can you imagine having both parents, one better than the next? It's not, I can't even imagine it. Growing up
Yes,
in a
and
talented
American
household
Pie.
like that.
All right, guys. Hey, this has been a wonderful. We're out of time. We're way past the time. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you. I love you. You know, you can always follow me at the podcast, which is streaming right beneath Juskow's chin and microphone. Friends Like Us. You can find it on all platforms. Thank you so much, everyone. Make sure you wash your hands. You can still wear your mask if you want to. It's flu season, so I ride the subway, so I love wearing a mask.
Yep.
Oh, thank you, SST.
And maybe I'll see
thank
some
you.
of you at Billy Joel tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden.
Thank you for joining us, SST. Yes, I do this every Saturday. So join us next Saturday. I have a thing going viral right now on Instagram. So
I
I
saw
love
that.
it. Yeah, it's doing really well. So some
I'm
of
going out with
you
Gary Goldman
are
tomorrow.
new. Oh, good for you. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Black Lives Matter. I love doing that with